back to another episode of the Modern Father Podcast. This is Benji, your co-host, along with my man, Marcus. What's going on, brother?
Dude, another day, another dollar. Beautiful day. Actually got outside. No wind today. Vegas is windy as hell, man. Like, I don't know if you ever noticed that the weather out here is just dumb. It's like, it's cold, wind, and like I can't go on a walk. I can't take Kyra out there because it's just windy and gets dusty. It's brutal out there. So today was no wind. Got outside, got to do my push-ups, went to the playground. People are looking at me while I'm doing dips and stuff on the playground. Yeah, man, it was a great day today.
Out the way.
Yeah, you're a kid, you know. But like, I have a kid, you know. He's in the stroller. He's just watching me. And then Kyra was just looking at me laughing. Every time I'm doing jump ropes, he's just sitting there just laughing at me. But yeah, man, just loving life, man. How's everything with you? How's week number 3?
My daughter will be 3 weeks tomorrow. A lot more alert, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So we do it. So like tummy time is kind of getting better. She's not crying anymore over it, which is nice. We're using like these cards, black and white cards, working on her following, and she's doing really good at that. I was actually kind of surprised yesterday. She was doing a great job. I used the floor mat yesterday. We got some more things I kind of dangle over her. Not too interested yet. I don't think she can reach them.
Right.
But she was staring at it, and I was moving them, and she was following along, which is good. I would love to take her on a walk. It's just, we have a winter climate still. And I don't want to put her out in the weather. It's been like 40 degrees, still too cold for me to take her outside and walk. But spring is coming around. By the time I get back to work, once March hits, I think we'll have some. Usually Denver will have a day or two where it's like 75 degrees, and then it'll drop off to like 30 and start snowing.
That feels like San Diego, man. I miss that weather.
Yeah. But other than that, man, she's chilling. We got the in-laws in this week, kind of helping out, which has been nice. I got to sleep in a little bit more. Somebody's helping me on the night shift. My mother-in-law wakes up like around, anywhere between 2 and 4 a.m. whenever she hears the baby, and then she's like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like, I'll take it from here. Y'all go to sleep.
That's what's up.
So that's been nice. Still going to the gym, working out. I'm actually working out with one of my homeboys on Friday. He's trying to get into some fitness, get into some shape. So I'm going to teach him some things that he can do at home, and just try to get him at least started on a really good workout on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that.
Are you going to baby him, or are you going to push him to the max?
Oh, I'm going to make him hurt. Yeah, he's going to hurt. I don't want him to. He's going to hurt. Because we're going to do a full body. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to show him a little bit of everything. So I expect him to be aching the whole weekend.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Get him. Yeah.
And then from there he can kind of build on his own.
Right.
I'm gonna give him some weights that I have that I don't really use, so he can work out at home, and encourage him to jump rope.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my go-to when I don't do anything.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is all you need. That's all you need, man. It's all you need. I put a timer on. I walk to one park, and then I do 2 minutes there, and then I go to the park where I do dips, and then do 2 minutes there, and then just like at one point like stop and just pull over and just do like a minute there. So just like 5 minutes, man, it's all you need. Usually I'm like whipping my back like a slave though, bro. I'm over here got pelts and welts.
I'm pretty good. I'm getting better. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not like skipping or doing different rhythms, but just on the regular basics, just hopping around, I'm getting a lot better. And at my gym too, I've been using the speed bag a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of fun. It gets very it can get frustrating, right? Because you're trying to hit that rhythm. I've been watching TikTok videos and just kind of like what I should be trying to aim for.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely very helpful. And it's just a good way to burn out my arms after a nice lift.
Dude, TikTok is helpful in ways when you're not watching the thoughts. So, as we get more organized in our nice little podcast, which I'm loving, man, we are doing a great job of just getting along. The content's been getting some well receptions from my boys. Like, hey, we got our first interview today. I'm excited about it.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. So our last episode, I talked about how we talked about youth sports, and I was telling you about that kid that I know who plays baseball back home, and his mom actually played the segment for him, and I was talking about him, and she was like, "Yo, he like lit up, like the way how you were speaking about him and how you're acknowledging his hard work and." Little 10-year-old man, so I'm very excited for this little shorty. He's doing his thing, and it was just cool to know that he got even more motivated, knowing that people are still watching him from the outside, and acknowledging his hard work. So she hit me up the other day and was just like, "Yo, like I played it for him. His face lit up." She's like, "You guys got to keep on going. The content was legit," and she was like, "It was cool to hear like the male perspective of just being of fatherhood and just kind of understanding parenting from a different perspective."
Dude, shout out to little man, dude. That's what's up, man. I'm glad you got that positive motivation from that, man. And like, dude, you did big ups with him, man. And like, that was a good story to tell, man. And like, I always play it back when I'm editing the videos, and like, even like, I get a smile. Like, that segment was great, man. Like, that whole episode got me fired up, man. Modern scenarios, like, that should be like a monthly thing. Dude, shout out to little man. Keep it up, man. Bat 400. Tony Gwynn's right behind me in the bobblehead, right over there.
Well, like 800, bro.
Yeah.
When you're that age, you have to. You're batting like 750.
True. Every at bat, you're getting on base. Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, right? Especially expose that softball pitching, the lob pitches, not softball pitches, softball girls. They get active. Layup line. Our first segment that we're going to have here, it's our warm-up. It's where we get going, where we get the blood flowing, get the juices flowing. We're out there working on the Euro, getting in with the left, do a little couple reverses, and then if you got the ups, got the dunks. Back in my day, I used to dunk. I dunked twice, actually. That's my calling card in sports right there.
I got that Andre Drummond Euro.
You have great footwork. Don't ever count your footwork wrong, especially like how you come off the screens and shoot. I used to love setting screens for you, man. Like we got one of these days when I get back there, we just gotta just hoop it up one day. Just get back after it. Just don't get injured though. Don't get hurt. All right. So layup line. First question, and we're gonna spout off a few questions. Just make them quick responses, quick, fast, or current events that are going on in today's world, especially as a modern father. All right. Did you see that video of that bus, that Florida girl? Is she? Oh, dude, man. Whoo, man. Like literally, like I had it on for a few. Like there's a few videos that I watched recently that I was like, man, I can't watch all of this. That video, the Tyree Nichols video, I couldn't watch that I couldn't watch the full thing of it. But this one right here, it touched me in a much different way because like there was adults there that could help. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the bus driver could have pulled over, like done something about that. Because I know I'm not a bus driver, but we've interacted with bus drivers. There's certain situations that this should not be happening. Pull over. Hey, you guys need to knock it off right now. Like somebody, and then also too, like when kids. Like, you guys are just watching this, like, you're one of your students, like, just get beat down. Where's the community? Where's the community in that? You know what I mean? You were watching this happen. You were watching this assault happen. What do you have to think? What do you have to say about that video? And what are your thoughts about it?
Man, it pissed me off, again, as more as an educator, right? Mm-hmm. I deal with bus drivers every day. I have good interactions, and I definitely have had some negative interactions with bus drivers where I'm like, yo, you're not doing shit right
now.
That should have been stopped. From my understanding, there was actually a bus aid, which makes it even worse.
It does.
So I can understand if there's a bus driver and they're driving and they're focused on the road, but I believe on this particular bus there was an aide who should be able to stop it, right, and do something. So the fact that and then the kid looked old. I don't know how old he is, but he's not 9 years old.
No.
That first kid was not 9 years old. I'd have to do more research. I don't know what's a higher offense, and I'm not like the one to sit there and slam kids and stick them in prison and shit.
Right.
That's an assault.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which one is higher grade or battery because they're charging him with battery.
Yeah. They're charging, and they're charging him as an adult. And I was going to get to that. Is like, how do you feel about like those charges
As an
him?
adult, I don't
Yeah.
agree with. I don't agree with that. I do think this kid needs a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing him in a cell or putting him in juvie ain't gonna do anything.
Right.
If the kids go into that once you get into the system, you learn bad habits.
Right.
Right. You just learn it's more of survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to see. I would love to if that was a kid in my school. I would love to know, like, what is their background? What are they being taught? How did this even get to this point?
Yeah.
The sad thing is kids knew this was going to happen before that. Kids know. I mean, I get tipped off about school fights all the time because kids deep down don't want kids fighting in front of them. You'll have a handful who do, most don't. So if you have those relationships built, you'll have kids come and tell you like, "Yo, something's about to pop off here, or something's going to pop off there." It was hard to see a little girl getting beat,
Right.
And I can't imagine. Like I said, I'm ignorant. So if that was my daughter,
yeah, I'd be on the 9 o'clock news for sure.
I would be. I would raise some hell for sure. And I'm looking more at the adults on that bus, particularly that bus aide.
Agreed.
Now we're in this age where people don't want to interact with kids, and break fight. I've had multiple fights at the school I serve at.
Right.
And I routinely find myself as the only one willing to engage. Always. I've always been the one to jump in, break fights. So I'm not letting you fight and things get out of hand in front of me. More and more, you're seeing people more reluctant to do that.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, I understand, right? Like, if I got two senior high school football playing boys, rugby playing boys, or I got two grown, teenage girls who are going at it, I can see the hesitance, but to see a little
this is like elementary, middle school,
I'm jumping in that
easy
and separating, and and usually when you're there, it stops, especially at that age.
Exactly.
It was just really hard to see, and I can't imagine what her parents are experiencing right now.
Oh, I couldn't.
It's really sad, and it's just sad how kids are treating each other now.
Right. Where's the community at? Like,
no community, no, like they go to the same school. Their kids are the same race.
Yeah,
I mean, they're in the same struggle. They go to the same school. They're on the same bus. They're probably in a close neighborhood to one another, and they have the same status. So again, another example of tearing each other down instead of building each other up.
Right.
And it was hard to watch. That one was tough.
Yeah, it's tough, and like you said too, like a lot of times, like the randomization of physical altercations usually happen like around like sports. They happen around like some type of competitive nature. Even like video games sometimes get a little rowdy and get a little like fisticuffs can happen from that. But when you see that kind of stuff, like you're right. Sometimes you definitely get tipped off, especially if you're an administrator and if you're keyed in with your kids and like you have your ear to the curb. Your kids will come and talk to you like, Mr. Marcial, I heard this, so like they'll plug you in and that stuff. I agree with that. The next two I gotta be really quick because that one was a tough subject. I knew I was gonna get to you on that one. That's why I put that one in there, as I knew that one was definitely pertaining to the stuff that I used to do. You're currently doing right now. Gym culture. We always talk about the gym. Me and you love going to the gym. It's a way we get our mind right. Have you seen a lot of the males that in the gym that are getting vilified for looking, right?
Yeah.
It's not even like the deep like, hey, like I'm gawking looking. You know what I mean? It's just like the I'm looking over and like. How do you feel about this new gym culture, and like how do you feel about like dudes just getting labeled creeps for just glancing over it? Some of them not even glancing. Some of them just like want to genuinely help, and like they want to be they want to be the guy to help people. How do you feel about this?
I mean, for one, I'm not trying to be the guy to help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to like insert myself. If I feel like you want we're communicating, or I got eye contact helps.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have that type of level of contact, and then we're helping one another, I'm not going to insert myself and try to help you. Am I going to take a glance at you? Probably.
Right.
Like if you're doing your thing, I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, I see women. Let me wear some gray pants and look like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, what's up with like? Let's look at it both ways though. Like,
So true.
you know what I mean? Like, quit playing the game. Like, you know what you're doing. Somebody putting out here thirst traps. You know exactly what you're doing. You got all the room in the space. You got all this place. You're gonna come stretch or something right here, right in front of the mirror, sideways, this way. Come on, man, quit playing with me. Like, you come in here full makeup. You're not here trying to do. You're looking for attention.
Right.
Like, that's not cool, man. And you should. And then the other thing too, like, I don't like if someone's looking at you. It doesn't have to be like in a nasty sexual way. It can be an admiration of like, I know you worked your ass off for that.
Right.
You worked your ass off to however you're looking right now, or like, I'll stop sometimes when I see. Like a woman, I got squatting like 2 plates. That's not something I see every day. So if I have like, God damn, this girl's 5'1", probably $150, and she's squatting 225 all the way down, ass to grass, slow and control. That's impressive. Right. But I do the same thing to dudes too. I walk by and I see a dude with 5 plates. I'm gonna stand there and watch him. I'm looking at him. I'm watching to see what he's doing. I'm watching to see the concentration he's putting. So I look at everybody. I look at everyone. I look at males and female. I look at everyone in the gym if they're doing something that I feel is admirable that I'm trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at it like at 2 points things. Like, so you have your video camera and like you're mad at somebody just glancing at you for a second, but you go to that same post. If you post it, you want everybody to look at it. So like that's the thing. Like that's kind of where it kind of mystifies me. And the second thing too is like you said, like man, if I wanted to go to the gym and if I were like a really tight like tank top and like I just blasted, like I just like went through and I just did like this quick like muscle blast where I just did like 100 push-ups, I did like 50 pull-ups. I did like 100 squats. I'm like, dude, I'm out there looking yoked, like I'm not drinking any water. So like, I'm just like, I don't have like the water, bloating. Yeah. And then like, oh, don't look at me, don't look at me right now. So it's just the wrong mindset to go to the gym. I think it makes it a little bit toxic. I think people just want to work out. And like you said, people do incredible feats in there. Like if somebody's doing like basically like a handstand and doing handstand push-ups, like that to me is like, whoa, holy crap. Like you're doing something crazy. Like you said, if somebody's doing squatting like a grip load or like pushing 400, 500 pounds on a bench press, like that to me is like, wow, I'm going to sit there and watch. So I just think that we all need to be mindful. I honestly think that like some gyms should have we're not going to film. Either we're going to have a dress code or we're not going to film. Like it's either or. And I know that's one extreme, but it'll just eliminate all these stuff because like I don't want to be one of those guys that like, hey, I'm over here like looking at what you're doing. You know what I mean? I'm walking by and I only look for like not even a millisecond, and then I'm plastered all over all the social media sites, and I'm a gym creep. But then also too, I also believe this too is if you're a good looking guy, you're not a creep. But when you're like an older guy or like a not good looking guy, then that's when you're a creep. So I think a lot of the creeping is judgmental on attraction because a lot of those guys were attractive, and if they were like, what do they call them, giga chads? Like then, like they wouldn't be saying anything. They'll be more flattered than anything.
6'4", chiseled,
right?
Jawline, nice hairline, handsome stallion. Anything.
Oh, they're not saying nothing. They like the print. He's got the print coming out the pants and everything. They're not saying nothing.
You're not saying a word. But I mean, I would say out of all the years I've been to a gym, maybe like 2 or 3 times I felt like there was a dude creeping.
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3. Mm-hmm. 2 or 3. And that's, I mean, I've been going to gyms now for over a decade. Right? So you're 2 or 3 individual times.
Right.
Where I'm like, yo, you're not even doing anything. You're just like, bro, like, I seen a dude with jeans, a polo, not even lifting. Like his boys are lifting. He's just there for the ride.
Right.
Like I'm like,
Right.
bro, what are you doing here? Like now you look like a creepo. You're not even dressed to like work out. You're not working out. You're not doing anything. You're standing around watching your boys are working out, and you're just watching everybody. That was a little weird to me.
Those are the
But
dudes
that's
that ruin it for
but
sure.
that's 2 or 3 individual moments over a 10-year span.
Exactly. Exactly. You ever see the macaroni guy? That's like he's working out, but like he works out like one set, then he gets up, then he starts like chopping it up with everybody. Like yeah, like there's the macaroni dudes. I see that more often than like the dude that you're talking about, like dude in jeans and like not even like lifting, but he's with
Not
his
even
boys.
trying. You're not even trying to hide, bro. He's just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, creepo. So last one. This was my anomaly. This is my thinking. You can pass on this one too. This one's my don't get fired topic of the day. I listened to the Jalen Jacoby podcast, and they have this segment. It's the don't get fired topic of the day. It's pretty hilarious, but I don't want to swagger jack. But this is something that you don't get fired. My philosophy on this, and I heard this from another content creator. His name is Coach Greg Adams. And he says that dudes that are married watch more adult entertainment, like OnlyFans and like The Hub, than dudes that are single. Do you agree or disagree?
I can see that being true. I can see that being true because it's you're far more removed from like these are people you're never going to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's more discreet. So
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see that being true.
Yeah.
I could see that being true just for that safety purpose of not being labeled as someone who's like looking outside of their marriage or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that being true. It's not true for me.
Right.
I mean,
no, those out here doing this. Not questions, not accusing.
but it's just like I can definitely see that, but I can also see that for dudes who wives are just tripping all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like my wife don't trip on me for anything.
Right.
Like I can see that because women do be tripping on their dudes, and probably a lot of time for good reason, or they just don't have that level of communication established like yet. But I'm definitely like I can definitely 100% see that being true for the purpose of just being discreet and the safety of it.
Right.
No harm, no foul. Something like that.
I definitely agree with you in that standpoint because like I think about it as like when you on Twitch,
single dudes, you got the whole world in front of you. I mean,
exactly. You have the websites. I mean, you have the apps on your phone and everything. You can meet people. And I mean, and that's another whole story, like how like you have to look and how that's studies and everything. We'll definitely get into that today because we went to our next subject. But yeah, I definitely agree. I agree with that topic because like if you go on like Twitch and like the people who are mega simping, it just wouldn't seem like there are a bunch of single guys that are doing that. You know what I mean? Like I think it would just be just a bunch of like just a bunch of married guys, and like there's a bunch of like dudes that are out there that like don't talk in their marriage, and like I think it gets to the point where like these dudes would be like, oh well, like I'm gonna try, talk to somebody else, and like what better to do it from like an e-girl who like you have like no, you don't have to leave the house, you don't have to do that stuff. So I definitely think that would be married people or people like in long-term relationships perpetuating that kind of simping epidemic.
Yeah, like
it's definitely a simping culture. I'm not one of them though, because I don't, that's
and people are just man. There's just people don't know how to speak in person to person, so it's even easier when, like you say, you're speaking to some e-girl who's just. It's like talking to a stripper, right? Like I don't like going to strip clubs because all they do is stroke your ego, and you don't get any. Like it's nothing at the end. It's just empty compliments that are rehearsed and regurgitated to everyone. You just happen to be that person in the moment. But for some dudes, like they thrive off of that. Like it makes them, it fulfills something that's missing for them.
Yes.
where I go, and I just think about the money I'm spending on.
Yeah, man.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I'm too cheap for this, man.
Right. And it's not even the fact it was like, yo, like I'm not broke, but I just like
don't want to
it's
do
just
that.
the whole concept of it is it's I think it's different. I think it's different for people who can talk to people and have confidence and like who don't need that ego stroke to somebody who's like down bad and like doesn't have the people skills and they don't have the resources that are there. They just so it's like, hey, well, I might as well spend the money and then hey, I'll get this attention, I'll get this touchy feely, like hey, like it'll be great, but like it's different for somebody who actually can talk and to somebody who can actually move in a direction of confidence. A lot of people aren't confident these days. And that right there was our first layup line. How you like that?
That was good. That was cool.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
There you go. See? That's all we need. We were doing dunks in the layup. We were throwing off the backboard.
Triple double.
You're going to be like LeBron and do 38 and 3/4 in the fourth quarter. You're gassed out.
Gassed out. And I'm motioned out. But I'm still MJ. Don't get it twisted. I respect him, but I'm MJ.
We're going to talk about that at the end of the cast because that's very important. All right, let's dig into our next topic. Definitely marriage and modern dating for single fathers. We are not single. How did you meet your wife? How did that go down?
So we're old school. So we met in person.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no swiping left, no swiping right. We actually met in English class freshman year of college. We were just cool. We were friends. I was running around being a college boy, just partying, living the wild. And she was just always cool, always down to chill, down to talk. And that's where we met in college. And then it kind of just grew year by year. And then we finally started dating senior year. So we didn't date throughout college, which is probably good because I don't think we would have made it to where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we met in person, man. So we've known each other since we were 19 years old. Or was I 9? Yeah, I was still 18. So we met when I was still 18. I'm now 32, turning 33 in 2 months. So we've known each other. We've been a part of each other's lives for a long time.
Yeah, you guys have been that's a long time.
Yeah.
For me and my long term, we met at a treatment facility, and on my very last day, I slid my
working. They weren't no fentanyl or nothing. Just
no. Yeah. Nothing like that. We were working. No, not addicts. Never been like that.
Two crazy motherfuckers linked together.
Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate setting the record straight. Damn, dude, modern fathers out here. They got a pass.
They got a pass, motherfuckers on fentanyl. Then he met another person on fentanyl.
Struggling. They were down bad back in the day. But yeah, we met at a treatment facility. It was for young women, and we both worked there, and we both worked the daytime shift. And she used to work the night shift, and we both got moved to days. She started teaching, and then I started working like most of the hallways. I was in the intervention unit. My last day of work, I took my number, I wrote it down, I slid it on a piece of paper, and I passed it to her, and I was like, hey, you call it if you want to, And that was my last day, and then I went to work at a preschool, and on my last day, dude, she comes in, and she's like, oh, yeah, like, hey, like, the biggest, like, a client that we had, like, she was huge, she was, like, 6'1", like, just Samoan, just beast, and like she's like, yeah, I caught her kissing another girl. Like, you got to go confront her. And I was like, oh, dude. So my last day, like, I went to go confront her. My last day was crazy. That was a crazy event. Like, dude, there were situations that we got to were really crazy. But yeah, so then we went on a date. Our first date was 14 hours. We went on a hike, And then from there, man, it was, 8 years later, now we're like together, so it's crazy.
I remember that story. I was like,
oh yeah,
the longest first date ever.
Longest first date ever, and it worked out. Now we have little Cairo, and we're out here in Vegas and chilling. But so the whole reason why I wanted to ask, how we met each other's spouses is because I'm gonna ask two questions. Dating nowadays is extremely hard, especially for us, our young brothers and our young sisters. It's very hard for us to get together. We don't meet in person like that. You know what I mean? Like there's no more person to person contact like that. If you have a job, like okay, but like you really shouldn't date anybody at your job. That's why I waited to my last day to do that. So now I'll say this: dating is extremely hard. What would you say is like the whole? I'm trying to phrase this right. Like, well, how would you go about meeting somebody in today's day, and are you willing to build and take that risk with somebody in today's modern dating market? Because you think about it, right? Like, we weren't at the finish line. Like right now, think about it this way: how much the growth that you had, and then that you had together with your wife. Like I'm thinking about it, like, but me and my long term were making under $20 when we met each other, and then we built each other together. I don't think people are willing to do that nowadays. Like I don't think people are willing to start at the bottom and build with each other and build each other up. I think more it's like, hey, let's wait the finish line. Let's wait for this finished product. Let's wait till this guy's making like 70, 80K. Like I don't want this dude that's making 40, 30,000 anymore. So what do you say about that and about modern dating today?
I think people got the game fucked up. I think people have all these unrealistic expectations. Like you said, like when my wife and I met, I didn't have shit. I mean, I didn't start having anything until the last few years. But the crazy thing was, a lot of the stuff I do have, she saw that in me when I was 18. Right? So she saw those qualities, and she saw where I was headed when I was 18 years old, and stuck by my side through the ride, all the ups and downs, different jobs, different, crazy shit that I was getting into when I was younger. We can probably talk about that a whole different day. That's a whole different episode. But just, just being there. And I think people do. There are people who are still like that. There are still people who are like that. But the influence of social media and just having all these people in your algorithm that you're just saying like, this person ain't shit if they don't got $1 million, and you gotta be a high value man, and you gotta be this, and you gotta be that. That's to an extent that's true. Like you should have some value, but as a young dude in your 20s, you're just not there yet, and that's fine. But you just gotta continuously make progress, and hopefully you find someone on that route who wants to see you and grind with you and make that grow with you. Other folks, sometimes you find two complete products at the end, and you both come together, and then your life takes off from there. I would say it's harder for women, which is interesting, because the smarter a woman is, the more money a woman makes, the harder it is for her to date. Because women don't date down usually. So like I know I got a couple homegirls who are highly educated, who make good money, who are independent. They do a lot for themselves, and they struggle with dating because they're like, well, this dude doesn't do shit, or this dude doesn't make the money I make, or this, and it's hard. Like it's hard to see that from their perspective, because they were raised very, traditional, where the man is the leader of the house, and like, well, how can he be the leader of the house when I'm making double of his income?
Sure.
I have an advanced master's degree, and this dude barely has a high school diploma. Doesn't have. You got to understand the levels of conversation are different there.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you say that? Cause like you brought up some extremely good points about like, women don't date down. They definitely they date up.
Typically.
So do you think? Yeah, I believe that's true too. Because I mean, especially like with the women that I talk to who are in that position to where they have their own house, they have degrees, they have a good job, but they're single. You know what I mean? And like it's hard for them to find spouses. And I'm like, wow, like this is crazy how they're still single and alone. They got cats. It's pretty brutal. So what would you say like because it's kind of you damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because if you nowadays if you don't have like especially I'm looking at it from some like a woman's perspective because I know that everybody talks about this like and especially like in manosphere and red pill. I don't know if you know these terminologies. Stuff like that, but they talk about this stuff like this. So it's like for a woman, it's like, all right, men don't date, higher earning women. But then on the other hand, if you're not a higher earning woman, how are you going to pay your bills in today's economy? You know what I mean? So like and I get the red pill points, like like nobody wants to date like this, master's degree having, house, they have their own house, stuff like that. But it's like okay, then like. Are you gonna date somebody who's like a straggle and who's like super broke and is barely hanging on and like has zero credit score and like so where's the median on that?
If she's a 10, dudes will. If she's a 10, men will. And a lot of men too, they got that savior complex. Like I want to be the one to build her up. You know what I mean? And that's cool too. Like it doesn't have to be the savior complex. I mean, I really think it just boils down to knowing what you want in a person. And if you can live with how the finances work out, and you can have that conversation up front to where it's not uncomfortable, and you're not like talking down on your man because maybe he is not in that position yet that he wants to be in, and it's going to take some time. But do you see that potential in them? Are they working at it, or are they coasting by? Because I think that's huge, and I think that can add a lot of value. And just like, what is it that this person has to offer that even caught your interest in the first place? Are they a part? Do they attract your non-negotiables? And I think if you go about it that way, you're going to find yourself to being more successful dating opportunities. Or another thing too is just date someone who's different than what you date. Like I talked to some of my homegirls, and they're like, "Well, I went out with this dude, and it didn't work out." And I was like, "From everything you told me, all them dudes are the same. They just got different names. Like they're literally prototypes of one another. But you're missing the dude, the guy over there who's in love with you." And you're not giving him a chance because he doesn't what? Because he's not 6'4"? Because he's not doing X, Y, and Z. Like you're dating the same type of dude and you're expecting different results.
Would you say that women mostly will date and share the top 10, 15% of guys and friend zone the rest? Because it sounds like that's what this sounds like. Is if you're not over 6 foot, if you don't have a 6'6" dong, or you don't have the charisma, you're not, you don't walk into a room and wow people, then it's like, well,
you're a nobody. You're
nothing to me at that point.
You're invisible. And like again, like you don't gotta be. Everyone likes their different things, but for the most part, what you see is like when you talk about those top 10% men, like they're usually somewhat attractive, whether they're tall or short. You know what I mean? There's a lot of short dudes out there pulling. You know what I mean? But they know they got a good mouthpiece. They know how to talk. They know how to dress well. They know how to present themselves. They're outgoing. That's a big one. But you're getting the same result when you got the quiet guy down the block who could be all of those things, but there's someone who can help bring it out of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you could be that person that brings it out of them if you give them a chance. Or they're going to actually show you a different part of you that you don't even know is there. Because you could be putting on your show and attracting everything you don't want.
That's true.
Because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You're living off TikTok, you're living off social media, and it's influencing you on what you should have rather than what you truly want to have. And you're missing out on an opportunity for somebody special.
What do you think about pickup artists and those dudes that teach guys that are like the ones that you said? They call them Chads. We'll call this guy Chris. And teaches the Chris's how to go out and be charismatic and try to put themselves out there to be, pick up women like that. What do you think about pickup artists? Like, what's your opinion?
I mean, I think they could be helpful. I mean, I help people. I help folks all the time. I mean, I help a couple of my homies, but it's just a matter of like knowing who they are and where you're going to thrive at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, not everyone. Like, I got a friend, passed away, my boy Alan, and when we were younger, man, this guy is 6'1", handsome dude, good build. He can just walk through a club and he'll walk out. Just do a test walk, he'll get 3 numbers.
Sheesh.
Right? I was never like that. I didn't attract women like that. I was just walking through I was more of a sit. Once people sit down and talk to me, that's when they're like, oh shit, like, all right, now we kind of like this. You got to know what your niche is.
Mm-hmm.
What are you good at? Like, where are you most comfortable? You don't need to force somebody. You don't send your guy who's an introvert who stays home, play video game, throw him in the club, and just because you hyped him up and you told him some pickup lines, like, that shit's gonna work. Like, women are gonna see through that. Like, I think it can be helpful. I mean, because everyone needs a little coaching now and then. Again, to bring out the best in them. Everyone has something special to offer. It's a matter of finding out what is it that you do have to offer and how do you share that with people in an authentic way.
Dude, I agree with that 100%. And especially, like, dude, pickup lines are so corny. Like, they're so corny. Yeah. They're so corny, and they don't work. And women watch those guys perform, so they know what to, like, be on guard for. So I think it's mostly, like you said, just finding, like, what a certain individual does well. Yeah. Whether it's face-to-face talking, whether it's, like, hey, like telling people what their hobbies are, whether it maybe, gym workout gurus and stuff. Find something that their niche is, and then let's push on that and make sure that you're most successful.
There's a billion people out here, bro. Once you get them to the point where you get somebody to the point where they can just at least try consistently to put themselves out there, something is going to happen eventually.
I agree.
Like they said, you miss all the shots you don't take.
I agree 110%.
It really just boils down to that.
I definitely agree with that. And, like, it's at a point, it's you have to like engage with the opposite sex. I remember at the mall, man. I used to go to the mall all the time with my boy Marquise, man. Shout out to Marquise, man. I hope he's doing well. And dude, we used to go to the mall and just chop it up with ladies, and like I remember he used to call it because I remember this Rock the Vote. P Diddy used to go in there. I think it was back when this is dating myself. Goodness gracious, it's before Obama. I think it was Al Gore when he was running for president, and like P Diddy was doing his whole like, hey, like rock the vote, stuff like that. So my buddy came up with this phrase, he's like, hey man, these women out here choose or lose, So we used to go to the mall and just be like, hey, like what's up, and chop it up and da da da. And so that the end of the line was like, hey, like either choose or you're gonna lose, like what you gonna do right now, and like we get numbers and stuff, but like that was training. Like that was training of me being able to talk to people and be in uncomfortable situations, and not only just with women, but just with work, like with firing people or having uncomfortable conversations, with your significant other, and being courageous like that. All that right there was just practice. I think a lot more nowadays it's so hard to do that because not only is it social media, but just like you get labeled a creep, and then like also too like charges can get put on you. like Michael Irvin. I don't know if you saw that today, where he just, walked up to a young lady and had a 1 minute conversation, and now he's off the Super Bowl stuff. I don't know if you.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. Check in on that, man. That's crazy. Like, he had a 1 minute conversation with a lady, and like they pulled him from every Super Bowl thing. So like, man, like, what'd you say in that 1 minute that would get you pulled from not only NFL Network, but then also First Take? He's not going to be on that this week. So yeah, man, it's crazy. But so like, it's a new day and age, and like, you have to come correct on if you are going to cold approach or if you're going to talk. So like, for me, like, I'm already, I'm knee deep already in the relationship. So like, I'm not coming at an angle I'm not trying to hit on you. I'm just, hey, I might want to have a conversation because I don't talk to anybody. So like, my angles and like the stuff that I'm coming from, especially I'm not a bad looking dude too. And I'm always trying to groom and look good and present myself in a positive light. So I am able to open people's guards and ask questions and not be considered a creep because of that. More people need to learn those type of skills that you were talking about earlier for them to be better in those situations, so they won't get caught up like Michael Irvin.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised by mostly women, so I've been around women my entire life. And I got sisters, cousins, aunts, grandmas, friends, right? A lot of my friends, my closest friends, were females growing up. So, and just kind of learning from their experiences of dealing with men, dealing with their in different ages, right? From teenage to grown women, and just seeing how they have been treated, mistreated, taken advantage of. I would say a lot taken advantage of by a bunch of buster ass dudes who really had nothing to offer, but they had a good mouthpiece, just running
cookies. Yeah,
just being able to like decipher through the game and just realizing like, I don't want any female to ever look at me like that. Ever.
Right. As a creep.
I never as a creep or as a manipulator or as a liar. Like, that's nothing. I never want to be seen as like that, because I've seen the other side of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I've seen the tears. I've seen the distrust. I've seen how it impacts women, and I even with my mother, right, to the most extreme case, which again we'll talk about further down the line, where that goes, right, when you're dealing with insecure men. And that's something I really hold to heart, and I've always worked on that since I was a shorty. Always something I'm always trying to work to be better at.
Positive energy, man. It rubs off. It goes a long way.
And then especially real quick in my field. I mean, my field is dominated by women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, so I have to I'm always on my P's and Q's. I'm always like.
You have to be.
Always.
And especially you can't be aggressive in how you talk to them, and like, you also have to come, especially if you're going to come out with a criticism way. Like, you have to come with it with, I call it the compliment sandwich. You praise what you need to work on, and then come back at it with the praise. I find that to be like a really good work, because you're right, man. Especially when you're in a dominated field like that with women, it's important that you do have a certain gravitas and a certain way you're presenting yourself.
I believe in equity. Everybody get your smoke. I'm gonna talk to you at work. You get it like a dude. I'm gonna be 100. You get it. Everyone getting the same way. I don't care who you are. That's different. But you're not gonna sit here and tell me I'm talking to you different because you're a woman.
Right.
Actually, I'm talking to you like this because I believe in equality and equity. And this dude pissing me off. I'm gonna tell him the same way I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
We're both gonna get it the same way. There is no favoritism. There is no because I'm not. It's because y'all pissing me off, and you're both human beings.
Right.
I've heard like the whole compliment sandwich or the whatever that shit is. I'm working on it. It's not my strong suit, because when I'm there and I'm trying to get something done, like, we gotta go, especially if it's some dumb shit.
Right. Well, the compliment sandwich is the go-to, man. Like, because like, at the end of the day, like, you want I want immediate buy-in. And like, I don't want you thinking about like, oh, like, this person is like coming too hard or like that. Well, hey, look, I gave you a compliment. I told you what you need to work on to get better. And if you don't like the middle portion of it, that's on you. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm laying it to you as like honest, real, blunt as possible. And if you can't, take in that middle part and be reflective on that middle part about, hey, what you need to work on for you to be a better person, then you got to look yourself in the mirror at that point and be like, something's wrong with me. Because then that carries over not only to your work life, but also to your relationships. And if you can't be reflective in your own self and your relationships also, then there's a problem. This is my favorite question of all time, because like after doing all this stuff, is my producing. What is the key to a successful marriage or relationship?
I mean, tough conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Tough conversations are hard, but they're important. I mean, my wife and I had a few tough conversations before we got married. Of just kind of like, I would say more for me. I have a lot of vices, you know what I mean? There's a lot of, I'm not like this happy-go-lucky person with like great upbringing and all that. I went through a lot of bullshit, and I came with some, more emotional baggage than the average person. Mm-hmm. So being able to explain that and how it manifests, and a couple of what are my vices and what are some things that I struggle with. So I didn't want her to be blindsided by any bullshit that may occur. I mean, we're young, dude. I mean, the life expectancy is like 80 years. So I'm a one and done person. Like I'm in this for the long run. So you gotta have those conversations up front. That's the key. And then you said in a relationship or marriage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the relationship piece too was very similar, but the conversations weren't as deep. It was just kind of like, what are the important things, like religion? Surprisingly, people get very surprised about, like, I speak on religion of, like, just having to be the same religion was important because it was more comfort, I think. Mm-hmm. So that was very important to us. And that's something I actually brought up before she brought up. Kind of like, what are your goals? Do you want kids? I don't want to waste time. I don't want to date somebody just to date somebody. For that,
true.
I would just keep being by myself and playing the game and let things come to me as they go. I mean, everything just boils down to communication. Can you have an honest conversation with this person? Does this person know you on the good days and the bad days? Are they willing to accept the worst of your worst? Right? We even had like extreme conversations of like, what is it going to take for you to divorce me? Like, that's a tough conversation to have. Like, what is it that something that would happen that would make you want to leave me for good? And I need to know that, like.
I'm going to ask it. I want to ask this question now. This is our tough conversation. Did you guys like talk, especially with modern day marriage? Did you guys talk about like I mean, you guys both built this up an empire, but did you guys talk about anything like prenuptial agreements? Do you guys talk about like, hey, like, or like anything about like, you guys are having this kid right now, like in the future, like, are you going to family court me? Because that's also there. Like, so like, did you have any of those kind of tough conversations or?
No, I didn't value those just because we came into this at the same, everything we had, we built together. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're like, God forbid something crazy would happen and we would have one day go our separate ways. I would hope that we have enough respect for one another to keep it cordial, be as peaceful as possible. But like I didn't have shit to sign off on. Right. You know what I mean? Like, no, never. Now, if I would have been established, and I mean, like, if I was like a well-established person and she was her own thing and we built our own separate lives before coming together, then I think that's a more appropriate time for that conversation. But we built our lives together. Mm-hmm. Everything we have right now, we've built together. We both came here, moved to Denver with nothing, and we've just built everything together moving forward. So we have that open partnership. We keep our very important. We keep our finances still separate. Mm-hmm. So I have my own bank accounts. She has her own bank accounts, and then we have a joint account that we put money into. Or if we're trying to like save up for a goal, we continue to put that money in there. Mm-hmm. So we buy our stuff together. Our big purchases are bought together, like our house, things like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are important conversations. Thank you for sharing that, man. Like, because with me and my long term, who we haven't got officially married, through like the state or anything like that. We've been fiancés now. We talk about it on the podcast for like forever now.
Okay. We did a long game too.
Right. Just marinating on it. But like we talked about it, and it's like I was like, hey, it was like, listen, long term, listen, like I am already a member of California State Family Support System. You know what I mean? Like I'm already in there. Like I'm already knee deep in there. Every time I have a W-2, they know where I'm at. Money's getting funneled out every time I have a W-2. Like I told her this too. Like I would love to get married. But, like, I don't want to get married in the eyes of the state. Like, I want to get married in front of the eyes of the Lord, in the eyes of your people, in the eyes of my people. But I don't want the state involved in anything that I do. Because, like, as soon as, like, something happens, like, okay, like, now we need to divide stuff. So it's like they can come in and be like, well, we'll help you divide stuff. Not only that, we can help give out alimony. We can help give out, custody and childcare. I've had a really bad, kind of experience dealing with like state and being put on child support. And child support is another thing to me, man. Like, I think I can go in on child support for a whole hour about how, it's not fair that if a woman's struggling, then she gets, housing, all kinds of, support, all that stuff. But if a man is struggling and he pays child support, then he gets thrown in jail or gets his license taken away. We can just go on all that. That's a whole separate thing. I think men do need to pay. Like if there's an imbalance, definitely like men should pay, but it should start off 50-50 when it custody. But there you go. That's my little 2 cents about that. But when it comes to marriage though, I just don't think the state should be meddling in people's lives. I think that should just be between the two parties that are involved. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that would be great. It's just, I guess it's a case by case. I would say for the most people who are able to communicate, they are able to keep it between themselves. Mm-hmm. It's when one side of the table takes everything personal and tries to make an example of the situation. Mm-hmm. Because I know some people who've gotten divorces, and it was smooth. Very respectful. They, you take this, I take that. This is what we're going to do. We chop it up. We don't need to really get anyone involved, and it's a clean cut. But then I've seen other situations where it just seems more like a personal vendetta, or using a child as bait, as a pawn, and that's when the state has to get involved to try to make the best situation. So I think it really boils down to the two individuals. And like I said, communication. Yeah. Like, what is it? What are you really trying to get over on this person? Do they hurt you that much to where you feel like you need to make things miserable for them? Do you understand how, like, especially when you have kids involved, like if that other person's miserable, your kid feels their misery. They inherit their misery. So at the end of the day, your kid will be losing. So why do that? Not everyone wants to think that deep.
I agree to that. And it's also too, it's like to not use the state. Like, okay, so I'm thinking about it as like a woman here. I'm gonna use this example as like, it's like having a cheat code that's like right there in front of you, and it's like plastered like right there, and it's just like, well, like I should use this cheat code to get past this level. This level is like really hard. I should just use it because it's right in front of me, and it's gonna give me the complete advantage. And like it's begging me to use it, because it's just there. If it wasn't there, I don't think a lot of divorces and a lot of custody battles would be happening. I think a lot more people would be doing what you're saying and like having those conversations and having those more uncomfortable conversations. But it's there, and it's the ultimate cheat code that people are not just using, but just, I think, more abusing and making sure that, like, so a lot of times it puts people in financial ruin. It's just like, now you can't save up. So like, there goes that college fund, for that young man, because now, or the young woman, because now like that child support is so absorbent. Babyface, the other day, remember the R&B artist Babyface?
Yeah.
He's paying $40,000 right now for that. Kanye West, $2 million, all that stuff.
Let me ask you this though: did they get with women that they should have been married to in the first place? You know what I mean? So
Kanye for sure. He knew. He even talked about it in his songs. You know what I mean? 18 years. Like he should have known. He
set himself up for that.
He set himself up. Babyface, like those guys, all those guys. Tyrese. What do you want from me?
Well, you know what I'm saying. So like some of them dudes, like they're paying for. One night circumstances.
Well, but so those are
they're playing. You know what I mean? But
they're playing a dangerous game when they're choosing wives like that when they are already made it past the finish line. You know what I mean? So then that's when the talk is like, hey, like we're not gonna get married to the prenuptial agreement. I don't know if you saw the Steven Jackson video to where like he was about to get married and like he kept telling his future wife to, hey, sign the prenup. And then like they came down to like the last hour and like she brought a pastor into this extravagant like $500,000 wedding. And the pastor was like, well, you know, Steven, you should just marry her even despite the prenup. And Steven was like, no, I asked her to sign the prenup and she didn't want to. And so I'm not going to go with the wedding. I think if you are a man of status and if you do have, you know, if you pass that finish line, then you definitely should be protecting your time and your money, a lot of your energy. But like if builders like us, like we built our relationship with Our Lady from like the ground up. So like it would be different because I don't have when I was thinking about this, I didn't have, like you said, I didn't have anything to prenup. You know, like what would I have to prenup back in the day? You know, besides with like a 480 credit score, you know, a Nissan Sentra from like, you know, the early 2000s. Like, what am I going to prenup? You know, so like it's a lot different. It's that hard conversations that you have to have. My last thing, so we already like went into you know, divorce. Do you think? I mean, I think we touched on this a little bit. Do you think our modern day standards are a little bit too high? Like, do you think like we are in a day and age where just we're looking for that perfect person, and if we have one box that's unchecked, then we can't go with it?
I mean, I think that's hard for me to answer just because I'm not in that scene of looking for somebody. Mm-hmm. But again, I can see how that can be the case when the options are just everywhere. Mm-hmm. Again, I could just swipe left or whatever it is, swipe right, and continue looking through all my options and have this mystical matchmaker online and have access to millions of people around the world who fit a criteria I'm looking for. But I'm old school, you know what I mean? I am truly an old soul when it comes to relationships. Like I said at my wedding, you know, my favorite movies are rom-coms, right? And when you watch a rom-com, it's like organically funny. It's charming. It's sweet. It's real life. It's not built on a checklist.
Right.
Right? Is everyone going to be, you know, exactly what you want? No. But again, it's what are those core things that you're looking for in a person? What is it? Right? I'm sure my wife was like, yeah, I wanted, when she was younger, probably wanted somebody with washboard abs. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? That ain't me, bro. Like, that's not how I'm operating. Like, you know, we talked about this. Like, she's like, oh yeah, I always wanted to be with like a Puerto Rican accent. Like, you know, I got a Chicago accent, shorty. Like, I don't speak that Islander.
With that Bad Bunny.
Yeah, I ain't no Bad Bunny. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking Big Pun. You know, like, you know, like, but you know, like, but if she would have been stuck on that, we wouldn't have been where we're at. And I think people just get kind of caught up on the bullshit and not just really like the character of that person in front of them. Because there's a lot, I would say there's more good people than bad people in the world. And people get turned off by like dumb shit that's very insignificant and it doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of how is your life going to look with this person. Mm-hmm. And like really caught up on like, I'm telling you, dumb shit, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it and I've heard it from both men and women who get caught up on or get turned off by the smallest thing because their options are just so wide.
Yep.
It's just like, well, I could just, find somebody else because I'm on Tinder, I'm on here, I'm on there. I get 1,000 likes on any picture I put up. Everywhere I go to the bars, like I can meet people. Like you have all this access to people that you didn't have back in the day.
Right.
So it makes it seem like people are just easily replaceable, but that connection isn't always duplicated elsewhere.
So true. And also, man, like people, I try to go off of like treat others that how you should be treated, or treat others how you treat them, and then it get reciprocated back. But I think standards, like especially with us men, we should definitely have standards, and don't lower those standards a little bit. If somebody's checking those boxes that are making you happy, if somebody's making you happy, and you don't have all the boxes checked, then just pursue it. But then just watch out for red flags if you see red flags, then just don't do it.
And you can, and most of the time you could build those boxes.
Exactly.
I mean, you got a whole lifetime. Like
that's the thing about building, though. That's the thing. A lot of people like they just check out so quick, and like they're on to the next option because, like you said, they have so many options that at their fingertips. So it's just like, hey, well, if you don't check this box, maybe Mark and Daniel might check this box, or if Mark and Daniel check this box, like some people have like baseball rotations, like they got starting pitchers, they got middle relievers, they got closers. You know what I mean? Like it's insane, like the amount of rotating like that people have, and they're like, and so why would you want to settle down and be monogamous with somebody if you do have a stable? Like if you have a Monday dude, a Tuesday dude, or Wednesday dude, or Monday chick, Wednesday, Tuesday chick. I'm so glad I'm in a relationship. I'm glad I got long term. Dude, she's amazing. She's got some of the modern day stuff in her, but like hey, I'll live with some of that modern day stuff. You know what I mean? But today's age it's crazy. I love that woman to death because I told you I ain't going back to these streets, man. Shit, man. Like I'll be on monk mode if I go back to the streets. I'll just be chilling, because it's crazy. Dude, great talk on marriage, man. Like Sports Minute. What'd you think about LeBron passing Kareem last night?
I thought it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was beautiful. Again, Michael Jordan is my GOAT. 100%. As a Chicago kid growing up in the 90s, all I wanted to do was be like Mike, right? Like I can remember being a small kid and like hooping in the alley with the crate, and I'm getting my ass busted by some older kids, and I ran in the house and I was like, Mom, where are my Jordans at? I need to play better. And she's like, if you don't get your ass outside and you're not wearing your new Jordans to play in the fucking alley, like that's how serious it was, But you gotta respect greatness. I mean, I'm tired of folks just talking shit about this man all the time. Of like, they make it seem like he's such a terrible person. He's done nothing but like play the game with respect, been a role model for his sons and his daughter. Give back to the communities, give back to the U.S., stand on like certain political things that are going on. Just kind of like what you expect to see from a superstar face of the week. So I think last night was cool. He broke a record that's been standing for 38 years, and people are like, well, he had the opportunity to shoot threes. Like, oh, come on, bro. Like, cut it. Like, that's not his problem. That's not his fault. It's not his fault that the game evolved. You know what I'm saying? And this kid came in. I've been watching LeBron James since he was in high school. I was a middle schooler. I've been watching him since he was in high school. So to come in with like those high expectations and then like go over the expectation, like totally blew their own expectations out the water. It's just something that you rarely ever see. Mm-hmm. You rarely see something like that. And it was cool. I was laying in bed. I was with my daughter. You know what I mean? So like, thinking fast forward when years to come when they're like, well, what were you doing when LeBron James broke that record? Like, I'm gonna think back of just like laying with my daughter in bed, and she was like, her eyes were open, so she was watching it. I mean, obviously she's not processing; she's only 3 weeks old, but just being able to be there, holding her and watching it, I thought it was really cool. I like the way he did it too with that step back with the little fadeaway.
Oh yeah.
I do think his signature shot is that stupid. Let me like look at the floor, shoot a three. Like I don't understand how people don't know it's coming. Like you know it's coming because he like times it.
Right.
And like it's coming. But I thought like a fadeaway was appropriate. He busted his ass in those 3 quarters. I mean, he had 38 points in 26 minutes on 65% shooting, 8 for 10 from the free throw line. I mean, at 38 years old, man, that's a game.
It's a game.
That's a game right there. So it was cool. I mean, I know they lost, but it is what it is. They just traded for what's his name? D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell. That 3-team trade. They just had down off the press. Breaking news.
But I thought it was cool. I mean, good for him. Congratulations to him. Michael Jordan is still my GOAT. LeBron James is I'm putting LeBron James at number 2 for me. People give me slack about Kobe all the time. But for me, LeBron James is probably the second most impactful basketball player in my lifetime for me.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, like I said, I've been following his career since he was in high school. And I just remember being in middle school and hearing about, like, have you guys heard of this kid, LeBron James? Like, he's going to be better than Michael Jordan. He's going to be he's the next Michael Jordan. So to see how his career, kind of transpired has been dope. The only time I hated him was he was on the Heat because he was in the way of the Bulls.
Right.
He was in the way of Derrick Rose. But I thought it was dope. What'd you think?
Dude, I think we just witnessed, like, one of those unbreakable records. Like, there's a few sports records that'll, like, never be broken. Like, I thought this one was one of them. But like if you think about it, like 10 years ago, you would have never thought that LeBron James is not going to break Kareem's record. You just think about 10 years ago, we definitely weren't thinking that, and he was on like Miami Heat. Cal Ripken's consecutive game record. That's especially modern day baseball. That's never ever going to happen. I think no one's ever going to even get close to that.
I got another one for you that I just talked about last night. John Stockton's assist record.
Yes. Yeah. Even LeBron moved into the top 5.
He's not going to get it.
I don't think Chris Paul, like he had opportunities to do it. Like, nope. Like some of the greatest passers, Steve Nash, modern day passers, nope.
There's no one playing right now that can get it. There's no one playing currently that is going to get it.
Right.
Chris Paul's still 4,000 away.
Right.
He's 4,000 away, and on average, say he played 82 games, which we know is not going to happen. He averaged the most he's going to get is 800 assists in the season.
Exactly.
He'd have to play like 6 more years, and I believe he's 38 years old already.
He's 38. Yeah, he's not going to be able to do it.
Not happening.
Especially his body's breaking down too. He's never going to be able to play an 82-game season ever again. Like the most games you probably get out of the season is probably 60, 62. And that'd be a great season for Chris Paul for him to get to 62 games. So definitely, I think I could definitely see the assist record staying with John Stockton. That was one of the best duos, man. John Stockton, Karl Malone. Those guys were so cheap, man, back in the day. Oh my God, it's down screens. Like you're talking about illegal screens. Like those screens were so illegal, and they would like hit people. Like they would give sucker punch people. Like that was cheap. But back to last night. Beautiful. I love the fact that his family was there. It was cool that Kareem was in the building. Kamish, Adam Silver was in the building. The whole thing, stopping the game with 10 seconds left, going into finishing the third quarter. It was amazing. It was cool. But you know what? The thing that I liked about it too was like the other team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shout out to them. They were just like, hey, we were doing everything that we can to make sure this party ends in a dud. They played their keisters off. The whole game was like really fun to watch, just from a basketball player standpoint. Dude, SGA is the truth, man. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a superstar, man. And if he has one more person, Oh my goodness gracious! The Australian man, he was playing so well, and then both Jalen Williams were playing good. Both Arkansas Jalen Williams and the other Jalen Williams. Both of them were. They have a nasty, like, fun, like, squad. You know, I used to like read Bill Simmons's when he was on ESPN. He used to have like a little website. And they used to have, like, you know, your favorite league pass team. And, like, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a fun league pass team to watch. If you have league pass, I would like watching all their games because they're just a fun up and down team. The way they do the ball is crazy. Good. It was fun to watch history last night. So I'm amazed. Longevity. The man is definitely in Mount Rushmores of NBA players. I definitely would put them up there with Kareem, even though I never watched Kareem. But, like, your boy Jordan in Chicago, I mean, I was watching him when he was Bad Boy Pistons, you know, and, like, that was my first, like, thing of basketball, and basketball was, like, brutal, and it was, like, a street fight. And, like, man, like, the stuff that he had to go through, and I remember he would just drive down the middle, and they would even, like, play the ball. Like, they just blast him, you know, shoulder check him, you know, it wasn't even basketball at that point. And, like today's modern flagrant foul, they would have called that every single foul on the Detroit Pistons. Like, so like, LeBron never had to go through that. And for a guy to go play baseball, win 3 more championships after that, Jordan will never, ever be duplicated, recreated. The guy is an ultimate winner. There might be guys more skilled than him, like KD. KD is more skilled than Michael Jordan. I mean, when it comes to pure shooting. But the thing is about KD doesn't have the dog like Jordan. Jordan was like the ultimate competitor. And I know how you said about the whole thing about Jordan's persona, and this is what makes LeBron hated, is because LeBron will talk about openly trading a teammate. Like, he was talking about Michael Wilbon, you know what I mean? And so that's what rubs people the wrong way about LeBron. But during Jordan's career, Jordan was like, hey man, Republicans wear shoes too. And like, he was always saying the right things, he was always politically correct, but then like when you watch his doc or you read the books and he's like punching teammates, like, you know, like he's out there like he's like a pure asshole, you know, like, but like during his playing career, you wanted to be like Mike. You saw the smile, you saw the tongue out, you know, like, and so
funny, Space Jam.
Exactly. So you saw all the positives, and you never heard anything. That guy was the cleanest, purest thing of all times. You know, even if he had to leave the league because of the gambling scandal, allegedly, you know. So he had. But then LeBron, on the other hand, is like, he started the whole player empowerment movement. I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. You know what I mean? Shocking the world and openly televising it, you know? And, like, not 1, not 2, not 3. Like, he did things throughout his career to rub people the wrong way. And so now people like Skip Bayless, and now people like, you know, like pundits who don't really like LeBron, they have ammunition. So it's like, oh, I have this on LeBron. And then now I can bring up his clutch time scoring. Now I can bring up his, oh, he takes, you know, 8 3-pointers a game. You know, but like people don't say that. That's the last 6 years when the 3-point revolution started. You know what I mean? He just started doing that 6 years ago. So that's what makes this all in perspective, is that like he's only been shooting 8 threes a game for 6 years. You know, that's it out of a 20-year-long career. So a lot of his free throws made, his field goals made are near the basket because he's a freight train. Who else is a tight end that plays basketball at that level? The guy's 260 pounds. Of course he's going to live in the paint. Why wouldn't he? You know, and once he got the back-to-basket game when he was playing with the Heat, that's a wrap. He starts backing people down. So now if you're like a 6'7", 6'8", lanky, small forward, I'm just going to back you down. You know, I'm going to use my strength. Like, the guy's a specimen, dude. He's a beast. And to play for so long, it's crazy. High school, like, he was crazy in high school. That's why he's the chosen one. And you should definitely get his respect, his flowers, however you want to say it. The guy's amazing. My last question, and I'm going to stick with you with this one. Super Bowl. I want scores, and I want the winner.
I'm gonna go like 34-31 Eagles.
Ooh.
High scoring field goal.
Ooh, okay. Does Jalen Hurts lead him to that field goal in the last drive?
Absolutely. It shuts everybody up.
Okay.
Yeah, Personally, I don't care either way. Like, I wouldn't be upset if they lost. You know, it doesn't matter. I like Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jalen Hurts. I like how he carries himself. I like how people kind of doubt him, and his story is amazing. You know, he got benched for Tua, and then he sat the next year. Then he goes to Oklahoma, rebuilds himself, gets drafted in the second round, even though he's a first round talent. I mean, he never wavers. So
Right.
I'm a big fan of just how he carries himself. He should be a role model for a lot of kids who are going through tough shit, who, you know, maybe were trying to get recruited and you're not going where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great example of that. You know, it's, to an extent too, Mahomes, right? I mean, he wasn't really highly sought out, but for Jalen Hurts, I think this could be huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pulling for him.
I am pulling for the Eagles too. I have the Eagles winning 28-24. I think the defensive line is just different. You know what I mean? The defensive line, their defense is great. And not only that, I heard this stat that like Jalen Hurts has only thrown the ball down in the fourth quarter 58 times. So he's all the other passes he's thrown with the lead, and they don't even like throw the ball when they have the lead. They just hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball. Second half, they just produce the running game. So I think just the Chiefs defense, just they're good, but like I don't think they can hold up against, like, especially if Jalen can do whatever he can do in the first second quarter. I think it's a wrap for KC, because then after that it's ground and pound football. And I don't think Chiefs have enough when it comes to offensive firepower. When it comes to the wide receiver position, I think they have way too many injuries. Way too many injuries. No true number one. They got Kelsey out there. Kelsey's good, but just and then also too the running game is just, you know, like Pacheco. I don't know if he's going to be able to. So yeah, I don't know, like.
They don't have the run. It's going to be ground and pound defense.
Uh-huh.
I still think. I mean, Mahomes is special. I still think it's going to be high. I think it's going to be high scoring. That's right. 34-31 would not surprise me.
Right. Plus, man, Mahomes is like, dude. It's not Mahomes. I love Mahomes, but dude, his family be pissing me off, man. I don't know, man. His wife, his little brother, dude. They're so annoying, man. They're so like, why are you coming up on my feed? Like, I'm like, why are you magically? I don't follow you. I don't know who else follows you, but why you popping up? You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. Hey, man, good podcast. You want to lead us out?
Yeah. Real quick, too, I just wanted to touch on this because we mentioned this earlier.
Uh-huh.
Chicago Bulls, right? You're going to ask me what do you
Yes. Yeah. Oh. Trade deadline. I thank you for remembering. Thank you. Sports question. Trade deadline. Chicago Bulls. Tank? You sell it off, or you try to add that one piece? And if you try to add that one piece, who are you going to add, and what are you going to give up?
Honestly, at this point, I think the only piece to add is a true point guard, and because our team would be great with Lonzo Ball running.
It would be awesome. Yep.
So my wild pick, and I was talking about this the other day, and low risk, potentially high reward, Ricky Rubio. Give me Ricky Rubio.
Backup point guard from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Because look who he's sitting behind.
Yeah, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Yeah.
Give me Ricky Rubio for the rest of the year.
Huh. That's cheap too. Who would you give up for Ricky Rubio?
Somebody cheap. No one special. I mean,
Kobe White.
Kobe White. I don't think they would. I think they would need someone big. I'd give them a big. I think they need a big. I don't think they need a guard. I think they have a lot of guards. I don't. So
would you give up? Would you give up like a first round and maybe somebody like Patrick Williams?
Rubio's not worth a first round pick.
Well, hey man, you know how the price is up. You know, especially for somebody like Ricky. He's coming off injury, so I don't think he would. Probably like 2 second round. I'll probably say 2 second round picks. And then somebody
I give him the kid that we just drafted, Terry.
Uh-huh.
I wanted him. That was his name, Dalen Terry, whatever his name.
Yeah.
We can give him. They can get like.
Well, Green. Would you trade away Green?
Yeah, I'd trade away Green.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I do like him though.
I like Green. I like Green.
I like him, but I think having a true pass first point guard is needed.
Right. I just think Lonzo Ball's knees just exploded. You know, he's got a degenerative knee injury. Like I think he's got Kawhi Leonarditis. You know what I mean? So like where like that knee is so banged up that from now on he's load management.
Yeah,
like he's never the same. He's never going to be the same. And he's owed too much.
Yeah.
So like if you want him off your roster, say for instance like somebody goes, hey, I want Zach LaVine, right? And he's like, well,
you got to package him in there.
You have to throw him in there. You have to throw him in there. He's and then it's like, hey, like we're going to throw him in there. You're going to eat this contract too. Like you're going to eat this. And then I want players that are going to be like first rounds. You know, a whole bunch of picks so that you guys can get in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, possibly, because you got to suck it up for the rest of the like next, 25, 26, whatever games are left. Or something like DeMar DeRozan if you want to package a deal for him. Like it's like, all right, well then, what are you gonna do with Lonzo Ball? Do you want to eat this too? Hey, come on, come eat this sound.
I do think we just need a point guard, and I think Ricky Rubio would be a cheap option. Who can get you anywhere between 9 and 11 assists every single night.
Okay, on this conversation from a real Bulls fan, do you guys think you're with Rubio, you would be a better team than Milwaukee?
Yeah, I mean...
Really?
Chris Middleton.
You guys think you guys would beat them in a 7-game series, and they would have home court advantage? So you're telling me right now that with a Ricky Rubio, that you guys would beat Milwaukee... Or how about this? I'll even say the 76ers. Could you guys beat them in a 7-game series?
I think we can. I don't trust Harden in the playoffs.
You don't trust Harden in the playoffs. Okay, so that's a shaky. Okay, then what about Boston?
Chris Middleton's been in. Boston, I don't trust. There are only those two guys score, bro. Like they're the only two. That's what kills them every single year.
Well, they got Brogdon now. And Brogdon's playing real well for them right now.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Well, other than that, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, I would hate for us to blow it up after we just paid LaVine. I like DeMar DeRozan. I really do think that we are. I'm a fan of Andre Drummond. That pickup was solid. I thought he was a good pickup. I just truly think we don't have someone to really facilitate our offense enough to get people shots. I think that is a big, Zach LaVine is he can catch and shoot. Like, he can create as well, but catch and shoot, we're missing that. We don't have somebody who can facilitate an offense. That's not Caruso's game. He's a defensive, off the bench type of guy. Ayo, he's still learning the game, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's nice though. I like him. He's a lot of potential. But at the same time, like you ain't lying that he's definitely too raw. Especially for you to go in a playoff series with him.
I want to see us with a true point guard. And much as I can't really stand this man, I would even consider Chris Paul. But
that's too much.
He'd cost too much. He'd cost too much.
That's desperate. You're over here sounding desperate. You know what? If you would have said Fred VanVleet, I would have maybe been like, okay, like he's there. He can run your offense. Defensively, he might be good.
Fred. He's from Glockford. You know what I'm saying?
But I would say something like that because he can actually score too. He'd be a scoring threat. He can set up everybody else, but then you have to give up a nice package for that. But so here's my thing. This is the thing about the Bulls, and this is why I love talking to you about this, because especially you're very passionate about the Bulls, but then also your passion clouds your judgment. You guys are in NBA purgatory because you guys are too good that you guys are gonna make a plan. Definitely make a plan right now, but you're not gonna go further than the second round. And if you go further than the second round, that would be the ultimate upset. People in Vegas will be out. My neighbors will be out here scrambling. You know what I mean? The Vegas hotels will be out here scrambling. What are we doing? Who picked this? This is crazy upsets because you guys are in NBA purgatory, and that's the worst place to be in any franchise. Any franchise does not want to be in NBA purgatory. You guys are like the 2012, 2013 Atlanta Hawks. That team. Remember that team with Josh Smith and Al Horford and like Joe Johnson.
Never get over the hump.
Great team, right? But never got over the hump. Like, that's NBA purgatory. That's what that looks like. And that's what I think you guys are in right now with this combination of LaVine and DeRozan. And DeRozan is getting a little long in the tooth, so who knows how long he'll last. Like I said about Ball, he's not playing a full season ever again in his life. You know, Caruso is Caruso. Like, the only hope that you guys have is the ascension of your young pups. Like, if Ayo Dosunmu comes up and starts like being like a 20 and like 6 guy with lockdown defense, you know what I mean? Patrick Williams all of a sudden turns himself into like a, you know, ultimate 3-and-D guy. You know, like where he's like, what's his name? Who plays for Milwaukee? Tucker, PJ Tucker. He becomes like a PJ Tucker. You know what I mean? Like that'll improve your guys' team. But right now, you guys are in purgatory. So
I mean,
the only way to get out of purgatory,
blow it up. Like I said, if we're not gonna get if we're not gonna get a good point guard, then we have to blow it up. We have to blow it up, and then I would start with. I would get rid of DeRozan first.
Mm-hmm.
Put him on a contender.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would look into. I might have to keep LaVine,
right?
Which I'm cool with, but we still gotta find. I mean, it's just I don't know who's gonna be a free agent next year. I don't know. It's frustrating because I was really high on our team last year, but once Lonzo went down, I was like, oh man,
it just went to kaputs. And then also too, like DeRozan started getting hurt, and then LaVine got hurt. LaVine was never the same after he came back because like he was like basically rehabbing during the season. NBA purgatory is a tough place to be, man. Trust me, I've been a Clippers fan my whole life. I haven't been in purgatory. I've been on the bottom of the basement. But now that we have actually a team, it's like, all right, well, we're actually playing decent. But I don't. It's so hard with the West to call right now. The West is crazy. Dude, we can have like a whole NBA podcast, man. I can talk NBA all day. Lead us out.
All right. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. This is episode number 7, coming to you live from Las Vegas. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Love your family. Be productive. And wash your ass.
Preferably with a wash rag or a loofah. Good job tonight, buddy. Peace. Have a good night, everybody.